Have you ever witnessed an adult deliberately knocking food out of a disabled child's hands? What would you do if someone proclaimed that special kids don't belong in public spaces? That's exactly what happened to my 8-year-old daughter Harper at what was supposed to be a welcoming community event in our new neighborhood. But Vicky Harrington had no idea who she was messing with. Let me set the stage, fellas. We're in Whispering Pines, a gated slice of Atlanta suburbia where the grass is manicured to perfection and the neighbors act like they're auditioning for a country club. It's the annual Summer Splash HOA bash, held on the clubhouse patio with enough tiki torches and pastel khakis to make you think you're at a Buffett concert. My girl Harper, who's got osteogenesis imperfecta, brittle bone disease, for those not in the know, is rolling through in her custom wheelchair, decked out with flowers she painted herself. Kid's tougher than a $2 steak, and she's got her lunch tray balanced on her lap, pasta salad, fruit, and a lemonade she's guarding like it's Fort Knox. Enter Vicky Harrington, HOA president and the kind of gal who'd make a vulture look cuddly. Late 40s, always waving a martini like it's her scepter, Vicky's got a mouth that could cut glass and an attitude that says, "I'm better than you, and don't you forget it." She's strutting around in sandals that cost more than my truck's transmission, griping about special accommodations, like Harper's wheelchair is a personal insult to her HOA empire. Things go sideways fast. Harper's in the buffet line, just trying to get her grub, when some kid bumps her chair. It rolls a hair and, brace yourselves, touches Vicky's designer sandals. You'd think Harper had spit in her martini. Vicky lets out a gasp like she's in a soap opera, then lays into Harper with, "This is why certain people shouldn't be at community events," loud enough to hush the crowd. Before I can even blink, Vicky, with the finesse of a cartoon villain, shoves Harper's wheelchair back. Not a tap, a full-on, mean-spirited push. The lunch tray flips like it's auditioning for the X Games, and pasta, fruit, and lemonade splatter all over Harper's sundress and the ground. My kid, my fearless, flower-painting kid, bursts into tears. The patio's so quiet you could hear a beer can crack open from a mile away. Vicky? She's standing there, smirking like she just won the HOA Hunger Games. I'm boiling, brothers. My hands are balled up tighter than a torque wrench, and I'm ready to give Vicky a piece of my mind that'd make a drill sergeant blush. But I'm not just any dad. I'm a guy who knows how to play smart, and Vicky's about to find out she just kicked the wrong hornet's nest. So, tell me, guys, what would you have done? Ever seen a bully like Vicky try to lord it over someone and think she's untouchable? Hit the comments and let me know how you deal with an HOA tyrant who thinks she's above it all. Because this ain't over, and Vicky's about to get a comeuppance that'll sting worse than a speeding ticket. Vicky thought she could humiliate a child and get away with it. She had no idea she was about to meet the full force of the law, and the community. That evening, back at our place, Harper's still rattled but holding it together like a champ. She's wiping down her wheelchair with a rag, insisting on helping me clean the lemonade stickiness off the wheels. The ruined sundress and lunch tray are stashed in the laundry room, not as laundry but as evidence. I'm no rookie, I'm Maya, senior litigator for the DOJ's Civil Rights Division, and I've built cases on less than a stained dress. I grab my phone and start snapping, close-ups of the dress, the tray, the wheelchair scuffs. Harper, in her quiet way, recounts exactly what Vicky said and did, her voice steady despite the red rims around her eyes. I jot it all down, word for word. Time to get to work. I pull up the HOA bylaws, drier than a week-old biscuit but gold for what I need. Then I dig into the ADA regs, cross-referencing Vicky's stunt with every violation I can pin on her. By midnight, I've drafted a formal complaint, sharp enough to cut through any HOA nonsense. I attach the photos, Harper's statement, and a demand for any video footage from the event, then fire it off to the HOA board's email. For good measure, I text Dominic, a neighbor who's built like a linebacker and has a heart to match. He was at the splash and had his phone out. Sure enough, he's got the whole incident on video. Sending it now, he texts back. Jackpot. Word spreads faster than a wildfire in whispering pines. By morning, my inbox is buzzing. Some neighbors are horrified, sending messages of support for Harper and promises to back us up. Others, the Vicky fan club, are already spinning it, claiming it was just an accident or Harper shouldn't have been in the way. The HOA board, true to form, sends a mealy-mouthed reply about an unfortunate misunderstanding and looking into it. Typical. They think they can smooth this over with a pat on the head and a free drink voucher at the next event. Not on my watch. Vicky's about to learn that messing with my kid means messing with me, and I don't lose. Vicky thought she could control the narrative. She didn't expect the entire neighborhood to witness her downfall, on camera. The next week, the HOA board caves and calls an emergency meeting in the clubhouse. The place is packed, standing room only, with neighbors crammed in like it's the Super Bowl of suburban drama. I walk in with Harper, who's rolling steady in her wheelchair, chin up like she's ready to take on the world. I've got a bag with the stained sundress, the lunch tray tucked under my arm, and Dominic's phone in my pocket, loaded with the video that's about to light this place up. The air's thick with tension, some folks nod our way, others whisper behind their hands, and a few of Vicky's loyalists shoot us looks that could curdle milk. The board's at a long table up front, looking like they'd rather be anywhere else. Vicky's there, perched like a queen on her throne, martini replaced by a water bottle she's clutching like a lifeline. Her face is all forced calm, but her eyes dart around like she's waiting for a trap to spring. The board chair, a nervous guy named Ted who always seems one email away from a meltdown, kicks things off with a stammering intro about addressing recent concerns. I let him ramble, biding my time. When Ted finally calls me up, I stand, leaving the dress and tray on the table for now. Harper stays close, her eyes scanning the crowd. I start simple, recounting the summer splash incident in a tone that's all business, no hysterics. My daughter was humiliated, I say, letting the words land. A grown woman, your HOA president, deliberately pushed an 8-year-old's wheelchair, spilling her lunch and leaving her in tears. This wasn't an accident. It was a choice. The room's so quiet I can hear Ted's pen tapping nervously. I pivot to Harper's condition, osteogenesis imperfecta, brittle bones that make her wheelchair a necessity, not a prop. I explain how Vicky's actions weren't just cruel but illegal, violating the Americans with Disabilities Act and HOA bylaws on discrimination. Then I drop the hammer. I'm Maya, senior trial attorney with the DOJ's Civil Rights Division. I've spent 15 years prosecuting ADA violations. I know exactly what the law says, and what it demands. A ripple goes through the crowd. Vicky's water bottle creaks as her grip tightens. Ted looks like he's about to faint. Time for the main event. I nod to Dominic, who's leaning against the wall like a bouncer ready to toss out trouble. Dominic, would you mind? He grins, steps forward, and hooks his phone to the projector. The video starts, and there it is, Vicky's sneering face, her loud rant about certain people, and that deliberate shove that sends Harper's tray flying. Gasps ripple through the room. A woman in the back mutters, "Oh my God." Vicky's face goes white, her mouth opening and closing like a fish out of water. The video loops once more for good measure, and I let the silence sit heavy. Then I pick up the sundress, holding it up so everyone can see the lemonade stain splattered across the front. This is what my daughter went home in, I say. This, and a lunch tray covered in dirt. I set the tray down with a deliberate clink. This isn't just about Harper. It's about what this community stands for. Do we let bullies run the show, or do we hold them accountable? I lay out the legal stakes, the HOA's liability for failing to enforce its own rules, the personal liability for board members who ignore federal law, and the very real possibility of a DOJ investigation if this goes further. I'm not here to negotiate, I say. I'm here to give you a chance to make this right before I file a federal complaint. Ted's pen stops tapping. Vicky's staring at the floor like it might swallow her whole. The room erupts. A guy in a golf shirt, Mike, who's always grumbling about dues, stands up. "This is disgusting. Vicky, you owe that kid an apology." A woman near the front, Sarah, who's got a kid in Harper's class, chimes in, "I've known Harper for a year. She's a sweetheart, and this is unacceptable." More voices join, some calling for Vicky to step down, others demanding the board act. Vicky's loyalists try to push back. One woman, Karen with a capital K, pipes up with, "It was just a misunderstanding," but she's drowned out by booze. Dominic, still by the projector, crosses his arms and stares down the holdouts. The tide's turning, and Vicky knows it. She tries to speak, her voice shaky. I didn't mean for things to escalate. It was an accident. The room's not buying it." Someone yells, "We saw the video," and the crowd roars. Ted bangs a gavel, "Where'd he even get that?" and begs for order. I wrap it up, calm as ever. The board has a choice. Address this now, remove Vicky, implement ADA compliance, and make amends to my daughter, or we go to court. I've got the evidence, the law, and the will to see this through. I sit down, and Harper gives me a small, proud smile that's worth more than any verdict. The meeting adjourns with the board promising to deliberate, but the room's buzzing with a new energy. Neighbors I've never met come up to shake my hand, thank Harper, or just say they're sorry. A few of Vicky's cronies slink out, avoiding eye contact. Dominic claps me on the shoulder. "You roasted her, Maya. Should've brought popcorn." As we head home, Harper's quiet but lighter, like she's starting to believe justice might actually happen. I'm not done yet, but tonight, we won the room. Vicky thought she was untouchable. Now she faced a choice, apologize and step down, or go to court and risk her career. The HOA board's deliberation drags on for days, every minute feeling like a test of my patience. The clubhouse is quiet now, no more packed crowds, just the board holed up in their meeting room while the neighborhood hums with gossip. Vicky's been dodging public view, but word is she's sweating bullets, her usual martini swagger replaced by late-night calls to her lawyer. I'm not sitting idle, I'm prepping a federal complaint, dotting every I and crossing every T, ready to file if the board tries to weasel out. Harper's back to her routine, painting new flowers on her wheelchair and asking if Vicky's gonna say sorry. I tell her we're close, kid, real close. Finally, the board calls us back to the clubhouse for their decision. It's a smaller crowd this time, but the tension's thicker than motor oil. Ted, the chair, is fidgeting like he's got ants in his pants, and the other board members look like they've aged a decade since the emergency meeting. Vicky's there, dressed down in a plain blouse, no designer sandals or martini in sight. Her face is a mask of defiance, but her hands are shaking as she grips a folded piece of paper. I've got Harper beside me, the stained sundress and lunch tray on the table as a reminder of why we're here. Dominic's in the back, arms crossed, his phone ready just in case. Ted clears his throat, reading from a prepared statement like he's defusing a bomb. After careful review of the evidence and legal concerns, the board has reached a unanimous decision. He glances at Vicky, who's staring at her shoes. Ms. Harrington will resign as HOA president, effective immediately. She will issue a public apology to Harper and her family, enroll in disability sensitivity training, and step back from all HOA activities. The room murmurs, a mix of relief and surprise. Ted keeps going, outlining my ADA compliance plan, a 3-year roadmap with a budget to make Whispering Pines accessible, ramps, signage, the works. We're committed to ensuring this never happens again, he says, though his voice wavers like he's not sure he believes it. All eyes turn to Vicky. She stands, paper trembling in her hands, and starts reading. I deeply regret my actions at the Summer Splash event. My behavior was inappropriate and hurtful, and I apologize to Harper, her family, and the community. It's robotic, like she's reciting a grocery list, but the words are there. She doesn't look at Harper, doesn't meet my eyes, just stares at the paper until she's done and sits down, face flushed. The crowd's quiet, no clapping or jeering, just a heavy silence that says, "You brought this on yourself." I lean over to Harper, whispering, "What do you think, kid?" She thinks for a second, then nods. "It's okay, Mom." She said sorry. That's my girl, gracious even when she doesn't have to be. I stand to address the room, keeping it short. Harper accepts the apology. We expect the board to follow through on the compliance plan. This isn't about punishment, it's about making our community better for everyone. A few neighbors nod, and Sarah, the mom from the last meeting, gives Harper a thumbs up. The board's decision isn't just a win, it's a wrecking ball to Vicky's ego. I'd laid it out for them in private. If Vicky didn't comply, I'd file a federal suit, dragging her name through public records that'd tank her real estate license faster than a bad Zillow review. Her career's built on reputation, and one whiff of an ADA violation could have clients running for the hills. She knew it, the board knew it, and now she's got no choice but to play ball or pack her bags. As we leave, neighbors approach. Mike, the golf shirt guy, shakes my hand and says, "You did right by your kid." Others thank Harper, some apologizing for not speaking up sooner. Dominic hangs back, grinning. "Told ya, Maya. Popcorn would have been perfect." Harper giggles, and for the first time in days, I feel the knot in my chest loosen. Back home, I tuck Harper in, her wheelchair parked by the bed with fresh flower decals. She's already talking about the next community event, like the splash didn't break her spirit. I'm not surprised, kid's tougher than most grown men I know. But I'm not done. The board's on notice, and I'm watching every step of that compliance plan like a hawk. Vicky's out, but the fight for a better Whispering Pines is just starting. The next day, I get a call from Sarah. "Maya, folks are talking. They want you on the HOA board, something about an accessibility committee. Harper's got ideas for it, right?" I laugh, thinking of Harper's sketches for an inclusive community garden. "Yeah, she's got ideas. I'll think about it." Sarah pauses, then adds, "You shook things up. People respect that." I hang up, picturing Harper's garden, maybe with signs in Braille and paths wide enough for her chair. It's a start. Vicky's not gone yet, she's still in her McMansion, probably licking her wounds. But she's on a leash now, and the neighborhood's waking up. This isn't just about one apology or one plan. It's about showing bullies like her that you don't get to trample people and walk away unscathed. Sometimes, justice comes with a lawsuit. Other times, it grows quietly, in a garden where everyone belongs. Months later, the air in Whispering Pines feels lighter, like the neighborhood took a deep breath and let go of something heavy. The community garden is open, a patch of green that's more than just dirt and plants. Harper's vision brought it to life, raised beds at wheelchair height, smooth paths wide enough for her to roll through, and signs in English and Braille that she helped design. Her painted flowers are everywhere, bright bursts of color on wooden stakes and a mural by the entrance. Kids run around, some stopping to show Harper their own sketches, and she's grinning like she's the mayor of this little paradise. I'm on the HOA board now, chairing the accessibility committee. It wasn't a hard sell. After the showdown with Vicky, neighbors practically begged me to step up. The first phase of ADA upgrades is done, ramps at the clubhouse, better lighting, accessible parking spots that actually get used right. The board's got a budget and a timeline, and I'm making sure they stick to it. Harper's at every meeting, tossing out ideas like a pro. Her latest? A sensory corner in the garden for kids who need a quiet spot. I'm not sure who's prouder, me or her. Vicky's gone, her McMansion sold to a young family with a labradoodle and no HOA ambitions. Word is she finished her disability sensitivity training, but it didn't fix her attitude, just her paperwork. Now, every real estate listing she touches has to disclose ADA compliance, a little jab that follows her like a shadow. I don't wish her ill, but I don't cry for her either. She made her bed, and it's got lumpy consequences. Standing in the garden, watching Harper show Sarah's daughter how to plant marigolds, I think about how one cruel moment sparked all this. Vicky's shove wasn't just an attack on my kid, it was a wake-up call for Whispering Pines. Neighbors who stayed quiet before are speaking up now, volunteering for projects, checking in on Harper. Mike, the golf shirt guy, even built a bench for the garden, grumbling the whole time but winking at Harper when he finished. Dominic's still around, filming everything like he's making a documentary. This place is different now, he told me last week. You and Harper did that. I don't pat myself on the back too hard. The law's my hammer, but Harper's the heart of this. Her resilience, her grace in accepting Vicky's half-baked apology, her sketches that turned a patch of grass into a community hub, that's what's healing this place. I'm just the one who made sure the bullies didn't win. The garden's buzzing today, with a small crowd gathered for its official opening. Harper cuts a ribbon with oversized scissors, and everyone claps. She rolls over to me, eyes bright. Mom, can we do a playground next? I laugh, already picturing the paperwork. One step at a time, kid. But I know we'll get there. This neighborhood's learning what it means to build something that works for everyone, and Harper's leading the charge. As the sun dips, I take a moment to soak it in. This started with a spilled lunch tray and a woman who thought she could push people around. Now, it's a garden, a new board, a community that's starting to get it. Justice isn't always loud, sometimes it's quiet, steady, like roots sinking deep. And Harper. She's proof you don't need to stand tall. If you believe in justice and love seeing HOA Karens get what they deserve, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Hit that bell so you never miss a story. And tell me in the comments, what would you have done if you were in my shoes? How do you turn a wrong into something right? Because this fight's done, but Harper's got more plans, and I'm betting they'll change the game again.